Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance channel. It is once again time for a shop tour. I know it's been a couple weeks. I hope that you guys got the chance to check out the dyno mashup video. If you haven't, check that down below, where we do a bunch of dynoing before the runoffs. It's basically from September, but it takes time to get to the runoffs, takes time to get everything organized and out there for you guys to view. So check out the dyno video. In the meantime, we're going to do a shop tour. It is November 10th, and it is, I love to give the weather report, so it's in the mid to upper 60s today. The high tomorrow is supposed to be like 34. Time for the weather to drop out on us. It's going to start getting cold. It is November, so it's about that time of year. Next thing you know, we'll be see snow flying, but in the meantime, let's get into the shop tour. So, just kind of getting started here. I've got the cylinder head ready. This is actually Doug Weaver's new engine for his F production Miata. Be getting this together and bring his car back in. It's currently in storage, but we'll be getting that all together. So that's kind of the next project here. You can see the blocks painted, crankshaft's ready to go, cams, got the pistons balanced and laid out, getting the rings sorted, but there's a bunch more cleaning to do and organizing before we actually get this all put together. But we're looking really good, hoping to see this engine back into his car in a couple of weeks. Although I just got word, and I don't know if any of you guys use this company, Powertrain Technologies is the clutch company that I've been using for 20 years. And they retired and they sold out to a company out in California. So I have talked to them about ordering clutches and bits and pieces from them, and they have informed me that it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks before I can get anything from them. So here we go, another vendor, a new vendor that I have to establish a new relationship with. So, couple of interesting things. Oh, and of course the air compressor goes on. A couple of interesting things here on this bench. Actually found a guy that is going to be doing some valve cover work for me. This is a Volk gunmetal gray that I think I have chosen for kind of the JPM standard color for valve covers. Totally stripped down, resealed the plates on the inside, and powder coated this beautiful gray color. So it's time for these engines to look as good on the valve cover as they perform. So always trying to step up my game, guys. Alright, something else I want to talk about this week. I've been using a company called Kiesler. If you Google like Kiesler Miata, they do spherical bearings and Miata suspensions. They also do LFX conversion bits and pieces if you want to put a 6-cylinder in your Miata. They do all sorts of cool stuff. Check them out. And I love what they do to these control arms. However, in Mike Froh's car, what we have here, and I know this guy doesn't need a haircut, this is the inner liner of this spherical bearing, because I believe maybe they're not using the best spherical bearings in the world, and after 2 seasons these bearings are worn out. And I'm going to show you which ones these are. Look at the play in that bearing. That is a lot of play for 2 seasons. Those bearings take a lot of abuse because they're in the front control arm right here. The main arm that controls camber, the main adjuster that controls camber, this takes a lot of abuse, and that is where those spherical bearings came out of. And so what I ended up doing is replacing them with an Aurora that is much higher quality. If you get these control arms, check them often, and if you need to, you can upgrade the spherical bearings. Another thing to talk about, and I had not realized this, but actually, shout out to Perry Simons. He actually told me that this does happen because it happened on his car. These are threaded inserts that screw into the insert that they put into these control arms. These 2 inserts here, this one had come completely out and fallen off, and so had the rear one. and I believe it's just because they hadn't used any Loctite. So I put a little bit of blue Loctite on these and tighten these back down, got them adjusted just right. Another thing to keep an eye on if you're running a Kiesler modified control arm, make sure that these stay tight and or remove them and Loctite them. So now I've got some spares, so we should be looking good. So this is Mike Fro's car up on the rack here. Got all of his suspension concerns taken care of. Got this axle fixed. He was having pop out, just needed a new clip, and we're going to be working on his engine here in the next coming months. So in the meantime, let's keep rolling along here. Got two engines that are actually leaving today. These are both of the Elder motors, headed up to Minnesota to get put into their STL cars because they like to go down to Florida in January. So we're actually putting new Haltech ECUs into those cars. We got two new engines going in. Kind of looking forward to seeing how those things work out so they can go down to Sebring to start their race season. So these will be leaving today. BMW wise, I'm working on cleaning engine parts. I've got all the camshaft, valve train, and all the bits and pieces over on the bench over there. Kind of 15 minutes a day, I'm getting back to it and getting things cleaned up. I do have a little bit of an ugly engine that came in yesterday, just kind of hanging here. This is just a core engine that, believe it or not, is going to be a Spec Miata motor. How did I get talked into doing another Spec Miata engine? I'll tell you why. It's because it's a buddy of mine that lives here in town, and his kid is getting into Spec Miata, and they're building a new car this winter, so I'm going to help them out and build a really nice Spec Miata engine. So that's what we're working on there. We've got the floor drop in Mark Weber's car welded in. I actually need to kind of get my rear end in gear and finish seam welding this chassis and get the front hoop made, because Mark is wanting to come in December to get fit into the car, kind of like what we did in Stevens a few months ago that you guys saw. And here we are, November 10th, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get everything done. So got to keep pushing forward on that. Jake's car is kind of in a little bit of limbo while I'm trying to get some of these other projects going, but we'll be getting this engine out soon enough and keeping progress going on that. In the meantime, as you can see, Eric has gotten his car stripped down. All of his stickers are off, and the floor drop is completed in the car. I don't know if he bolted this down or not, but I don't think so. But this is actually about 2 inches lower than it used to be. He probably could not drive it like this, but our new customer, Bill Verdian, some of you guys know him. He's one of Mike Sturm's old crew guys, and actually has not raced in a long time, but used to do a bunch of pro stuff back in the day. And I think Bill will be coming down to pick the car up within the next week, I would imagine, with the weather getting cold like that. So he's from up in the Milwaukee area, so that's where the car's headed, guys. We'll be seeing this car hopefully back out on the track in the spring, and Bill will get it out to Elkhart Lake and a number of other tracks, I'm sure, up in his area. So the car's, I think, ready to go. So we'll be getting this car delivered and then figuring out what we're going to do with everything else that's in this area. In the meantime, and I can't remember if you guys saw Perry's track day car a couple weeks ago. Did we see that? Maybe not. This is actually Perry Simon's old Solo car. Some of you that have been around and have known Perry, he soloed this car for years and years and years in de-prepared. And it's got a bunch of cool trick pieces. I don't know if Perry likes everybody seeing this kind of stuff, but since it's a shop tour, that's what you get. It's got some trick inboard shocks and a really cool suspension. You can see that the inner fender panels in the front are completely cut out for huge tires that he runs. The cage comes up here. You can see his upper shock mounts, upper coilovers are up here. I don't honestly remember exactly how everything hooks onto this car, but it's really stripped down. And so here's what we're doing. So we brought the car up. It had about 50 different colors on it. And so now it is completely stripped and blasted. We're going to do another floor drop in this car and seam weld the chassis. And then he's going to take it back and get to working on turning it into his track day car. Actually built him a turbocharged 1.8 engine. Geez, it's probably been over a year at this point, but that's what this car is going to be a track day car. You can see that I ended up building some jigs here for a rotisserie. So the guys that do the baking and the powder coating wanted me to build something so they could just lift this up onto their rotisserie, spin it around, and make it really easy on them. So I made brackets front and rear, so now this car can be, now all the Miatas that we do from here on out can get spun around and easily powder coated and stripped and whatever needs to happen. So that's kind of where we're at on that. I'm sure, Perry, you're happy to see that there's some progress going on there. But I'm actually planning on trying to get that car rocking and rolling and back to Perry, because the next thing you know, we're going to have more cars coming in, and as you can see, kind of out of space right now. So that's kind of where we're at this week, guys. Keeping busy, tearing engines down. I've got a couple of engines still sitting right here that still need to be torn down, along with Mike Fro's and Charlie Campbell's from last season sitting over there too. So about 4 engines still to tear down, and multitudes of some coming. That doesn't even include Jake's that still needs to come out of the car. So keeping busy, working hard, and keeping after it. Hope you guys are having a great week. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you to everybody that bought the hoodies. They should be shipping probably today. And so you should, if you ordered a hoodie, and I hope you did, you will probably see it first of next week. And I hope you guys enjoy that and they help you stay warm for the winter. In the meantime, we're going to keep pushing here, and I'll have some more shop tours and some other videos coming down the pipe before you know it. Have a great week, rest of your week, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.